Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cleo and today I am sitting here with my lovely cousin. Do you want to introduce yourself before I introduce the topic?
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Peggy. I'm the cousin, and thank you for having me.
Not at all, and thank you for gracing me with your time. So, guys, today we are just going to have a wee chat about just our experiences in the European countries we're living in versus home where we're coming from. We're obviously Africans, very, very obvious. So, Peggy, I will break the ice and just say my first point that I actually found came across as a challenge when I first came to Ireland. It was their accent, the Irish accent, guys. You think because they are English speaking, it's going to be easy, it's going to flow. I'm not gonna have a challenge because I also speak English. I had enough English, but it came a challenge. I was trying to order in McDonald's and they became, pardon me. And then I was saying, whatever I was saying, they would not be able to hear me. And whatever they were saying to me, and I actually was living in Dublin. So whoever has ever been to Dublin, Dublin accent is even different from county to county in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Dublin accent is the strongest accent. But anyway, apologies, guys. Anyway, I was able to adjust, and years later, of course, I still don't have the Irish accent. However, they're able to hear me. I don't know how, and I'm also really able to hear them. I suppose with experience, with time, with mixing and mingling with them, you get used to it. So that was my biggest shock, the fact that I had been so relaxed about they will hear me, I'll be fine. Never even thought about someone not being able to understand me, or me not being able to understand English. But excuse me, I had a bit of a cold. So what about you? When you arrived in Europe, what did you find was different, or what shocked you?
I would say my first culture shock was the amount of greenery they have. There's fresh air everywhere. So the air is so fresh, guys. There's so much greenery. I mean, there's so many trees and parks everywhere. It's just even your drives. It's just green everywhere. So for me, that stood out for me because where I'm coming from, there's not a lot of green. It is there, but it's not as green as here. I joke sometimes and say it actually, that's the saying that says greener pastures, something like that. Yes,
like you want to go to greener pastures.
Yes, so it's actually very
pastures.
green. Yes,
Well, I suppose. Excuse me. I suppose you're right, and maybe you're speaking of. Okay, so if we're talking of big cities, big African countries. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been to many African countries, but say Zimbabwe, Botswana, South Africa, Johannesburg, they are big cities and they are very well built.
Yes.
The city is huge and there's buildings and there's hotels and whereas say for example Dublin, it is built but maybe every third street, like I could count, there's Marino Park, there's Stephen's Green Park, there is just on the other side of the Finglas side we have the big green park, Jesus Christ, if you're an island, the big gardens in between Finglas and Glasnevin. There's parks every corner of the city. It's not because when you're back home, you think I'm going to Europe. You're thinking it will be all built up from the airport to the house you'll arrive. You think it will be flyover roads, glass buildings. You think, like the things we see on television, New York. When you see New York on the movies, you like glasses and lights, but no, it's actually very green.
Yes, it is. It is. They've got
so
lots
that's
of fresh
true.
air.
That's true. And then now I will take my next point. I just found a difference in the culture, maybe, or the practices, or the people, the way people live in Ireland. If you work an hour or more from work, say for example right now at the minute my husband's drive just over an hour to get to work. And generally, what you'd get from work is, are you crazy?
Yes.
Why would you drive, 2 hours to and from?
Just to get to work.
Whereas, pardon me, guys. Whereas back home, that would be normal to work across the city. So maybe you take two taxis to work. You could take one into the city center or into town, and then take the other one to another 30, 40 minutes drive. And it's just okay. It's what maybe the majority of people do. But here they like to work 5-10 minutes from work, 15 minutes max. They don't like driving long distances going to work. They don't think it's worth your while. They don't think the time and energy you're spending on the road, they think you're depriving yourself of family time.
Yes.
So I found that strange. When we at back home, we think, it's okay, I get 2 taxis to work.
It's actually normal that side.
Yeah. And what else did you find was different?
I would say my second point would be the politeness when driving. Okay, before I say that, people in Europe, where I am based, I would say in England, right? They park on the road.
Roadside parking is very, very common.
Roadside parking is everywhere.
Yeah.
So sometimes before you even go ahead, you'd have to think, am I going to fit? Is my car going to fit in here? But the politeness that you get, people make way to each other. Like when you are approaching, and maybe there's an oncoming car, they'll actually stop for you to pass first, and the thank you afterwards. For me, that stands out because just common courtesy, to acknowledge that someone did something for you, just a thank you. It goes a long way. So I feel they're polite in that sense.
Yeah. So if you're not even getting what she's saying, it's like, the roads are small enough.
Yes.
And then both sides of the road, there's roadside parking.
Yes.
So whatever space is left, I suppose you could, 2 cars would, because obviously 2-way road. But however, you both feel, it's a bit tight.
Yes.
And to be safe, one of you will stop.
Yes.
So if you take your turn to stop, that person that passes like, thank you.
Thank you.
Or they may take their turn just to stop. And, you also wave, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. It's the same here in Ireland. People are not rushing. You don't hear the horn a lot. Beep, 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 beep. Whereas, compared to back home, a horn is an everyday thing. It's either someone is saying hello to someone, or someone is telling someone rush and cross the streets fast, or someone is, giving out. Why are you doing this? It's just nature to what is press the horn?
Yeah. Impatient. Especially if it's taxi drivers as well.
Yeah.
They're the most impatient people. Yeah.
It's true. I've noticed that too. And I can't remember the last time I had to use the horn in my car myself, because it's not something that you come across really
as often.
Yeah. And then one thing that you guys may think, why would she find that hard? But it's the cold. And I know I did my research before coming here, and I knew it's a cold country. But you can never be prepared enough.
No.
You can never be prepared enough. I tell you, it's so cold that even the Irish themselves, they do complain of this cold. Like, they are born here, they live here, but they complain. So imagine if you're foreign, coming into Ireland.
Yeah.
It's a very, very cold. Like, a -1 degree, a 2 degrees, 3 degrees is normal, in winter time. And remember, winter time is maybe 6 months. And then there's just autumn and spring, which are very tight to each other, and they are quite cold. They would be as cold as maybe our African cold. And then the summertime is an average of 12 degrees, where back home we call that winter, so it is a very, very cold. And like you can see, I have a cold and I'm here years and years and can never get used to it.
True.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
And another point would be the carrying of cash. Yeah, so everything is contactless here. So parking, you can pay using your phone, your card. So cash, you don't necessarily carry cash anyway. I've hardly had cash in my wallet since I've been here. Like I can count the number of times that I've actually got physical cash in my wallet.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that you're like, in Africa you need money. You need money
to pay, for
for
the bus,
daily necessities
the
as well.
tax,
Yes,
the daily transportation.
exactly. It's not everywhere you get a machine to swipe. So here, even Uber, it's like contactless. You just tap and you go. So it's one of those things that have stood out for
I
me.
think we need to change back home,
we
because
really have to.
the way at home someone like, I can have 100 rands. You're most likely you have it in your wallet.
Yes.
But if someone says, can I have 10
£100,
euros? I'm like, I don't have cash. I don't have money. But now, if you genuinely want to give them, you can do a transfer on the phone, because it's just a 2-second process.
Yes.
But no, we never carry cash. And I lived in Ireland for years. I don't know, maybe more than 5 years, and I had never ever seen a €100 note.
Wow.
Yeah, I had never seen. And say in my whole life, I'm not gonna tell you how long I'm here. I'm too long here, and I probably have only seen a €100 note 3 times.
Whoa. Okay.
You never really see it, and if you carry a €100 note into a shop, they are suspicious. They have to check that it's genuine.
It's a legit one.
So the highest note that's commonly used, everyday used, is €50.
Okay.
But I suppose it's because there is not many items you would buy that need, unless like if you're buying a sofa, a chair. But if you're buying those big things, you're obviously paying with your card. So yeah, I agree with you on that point.
Yes.
People rarely carry cash in Europe.
Yeah.
So my turn then for the next point. So my next point would be what would be my next point? So so culture shock. So say back home, guys, we do have foreigners, we do have immigrants, we do have excuse me, both black and white. And I have mixed with them. And one question I don't ever remember asking, or even seeing anyone asking of that, is, would you go back to your own country? Or do you ever think of going back to your own country? And it's quite a common question in Ireland from the Irish. And I don't know if they genuinely just are making a conversation, or are they irritated by your presence in their country? I honestly have never been able to tell. I mean, I suppose if they are making a conversation, it's fine. Of course I go home. I mean, how I always answer them is, of course I go home every year for a visit. I am here working, and of course when I eventually retire, I will go back home. The truth is that I am economical immigrant. I don't know if that's what you call them. Yeah, I think economical, just the fact that my economy is not as great, and I just migrated for economic reasons.
Yes.
So it's not because I hate my country, or I have no family, or, I have no desire to live in my country, but it's just circumstantial. There are some people that migrate for just experiencing life. There are some people who like traveling. Maybe you may live in the UK for 2 years, and then you go to Australia for 3 years, and then you go to America. But I migrated for economic reasons, and of course, when I do retire, I will go back home. Or, if my country gets economically stable, I will certainly love to go back home, because that is where my heart is. So I just find the question a bit strange, and I've never been able to identify whether it's an anti-immigrant question, or is it just a genuine conversation.
I haven't been asked that one yet, so I'm hoping it's not going to come my way.
And how would you address it if they asked?
I mean, home is where the heart is. I mean, most of us have migrated because of economical reasons, as you said. Yes, we love traveling. I personally love traveling. My hubby also loves traveling. That's something that is in us. But the main reason why we left was because we wanted to better our lives economically, I can say. So definitely one day we will go back home. Not sure when, God willing, obviously, because ultimately
you
it's
can
up to
plan,
him.
but it's up to God.
Yeah.
So that is true. Now I have to. I suppose that I'll just. So I'll just say my last point. I suppose that I have written down is the similarities, really. So I find the Irish very polite. I find them very friendly. I find them very kind. They're soft-hearted people, you know, in general. I mean, not everyone can be the same, but the majority of times, you know, I do remember when I first came into the country and I'd be looking for a street and I'd have a map and I'd say, oh, do you know where PS Street is? And they'd say, oh, I'm going that way, love, come with me. And the word love is just used every day. Like they don't have to know you or to love you. It's just like saying friend or another human being. They just, you know, come with me, pet, come with me, love, or you come with me. And or they'll say, I'll walk you halfway. And they'd say, oh, is it not out of you? No, I'm not in a hurry. They're really, really kind people.
Wow.
And I found that similar to my people back home. I have to say, it's not you wouldn't be surprised, excuse me, to be on a bus and a stranger sitting next to you will start talking to you back home. By the time you get to your last destination, you have talked about everything, the
Their
weather, their whole life, you know, their family, where they are going and what they're going to do. So I found that was something that, okay, so I think I have exhausted what I have so far. There's more. There's a lot more, guys. There's a lot more to say. But however, due to time limitations, I'll let you just point out a few that you have experienced since you're here.
I'd say the giving of stuff like Facebook. You get people giving you free, like beautiful fridges. I mean, quality furniture, just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you don't even have to buy any furniture in your own home. It's just a matter of these communities. Like in my community, there is a Facebook page that was created. I've seen people post, I've just moved into the area. I've got 3 kids. Anyone willing to assist, please, you know, please goes a long way, by the way. So, and people respond. People are like, okay, I've got a fridge, pictures are sent, TV, I've got bedding, I've got this. So the willingness to help is what stands out for me in Europe. I'm not saying in Africa people are not willing to give. It's because we don't have.
That's true.
It's because we don't have, not because we don't have the heart for it. We are giving people naturally, but yeah. So for me, that stands out in Europe.
That's true.
And also food-wise, there's food banks for those that don't have food. You don't necessarily have to sleep hungry with your family. There is food banks. They do give tinned foods, your rice, your veggies. Like you just go there and pick what you need, you know?
And people are usually very genuine. Like, you know, you don't get people that can afford going there. It's generally genuine people that need help that go to food banks and get basics. Because it's nothing luxurious.
No.
You may get tins of beans, you may get a packet of spaghetti, you may get potatoes, like just basic daily supplies. And even going back to your point of Facebook, like here we have Facebook Market. You don't even have to ask. There's actually people that post sofas, beds, fridges, coffee tables, anything, and they'll say as long as you collect, you organize collection, they rarely deliver.
And it's beautiful stuff.
Oh yeah, genuinely beautiful stuff. It could be because maybe someone has moved to a bigger house and the furniture has gone small, or they've moved to a smaller house and the furniture has gone big, or they are traveling, you know, they're going traveling and they're going to rent out their house and they want to just give away the furniture so that the new tenants can bring whatever they want. Or do you know, actually disposing of property in Europe is very, very expensive.
Yes, I've noticed.
So if I have a bed and I want to get rid of it, you can't put it in a normal dustbin, obviously. And you have to hire a skip.
Yes.
And to hire a skip is very expensive. It could be 200 euros, 300 euros, depending on the size of the skip.
Yeah.
So instead of me paying 200 or 300 for disposing of the bed, I just put it on Facebook Market for free for someone to come and collect. And it costs me nothing.
Exactly.
So that's how as well people end up giving up. Because it could be just, I just want to change the furniture in my bedroom.
Renovations.
And just give away that bed to someone that will not cost me anything. And what else?
I had written a few points so that I didn't forget. And the structure of the houses is in such a way that you won't notice that there's a back garden. It's it's one of those things that will shock you, because if you look at the house, it's so narrow and there's no room for a garden, like front yard, there's no garden. But once you enter that house and go to the back of the house, you'd be shocked at what you'd find. The space is big, it's huge, and most gardens are beautiful. It's like a mini heaven there. So it's been one of those things when I go to people's homes, I'm like, oh, okay, this is like nice, you know, like your home, jacuzzis. There you go, you know.
Thank you. So, we did our garden last summer.
It's beautiful, stunning. The gardens here are like I mean,
and people with kids that have trampolines, they would have swings that have, you know, there's enough space for all that. They can have a barbecue corner, you can have, you know, a few
pool
things
as well, you know? So
whereas back home, the people with big yards, it's generally the front that has more space. You know,
you can actually, it's visible. It's visible to you when you approach a house. You're able to see, okay, so they've got, you know, you can actually see, you know, the sides. Here, I mean, everything is stuck together. It's so narrow, one house after another. So, so you won't be able to see the back. So it's just
until you actually enter the house. To have access to the garden. And then I think you were telling me the other day, actually, that when you traveled here, you left your car in a public space.
Yes, I did. We did, actually, So, I mean, parking at the airport was going to cost us like £58 a day.
Very expensive.
So, being me, I thought, okay, why not find parking somewhere, you know, like in a local space where we're not just going to dump the car. I know it's not okay, guys. I'm not condoning it.
Well, I suppose.
But
it's not illegal.
It's something that I personally didn't know. I have to pre-book to park my car at the airport. So we had to find like a safe spot where people had parked their cars. It's like a park actually near school where we parked our car, and we've because of the low crime, we don't have that fear of finding anything broken,
or finding your car
gone or anything like that. I mean, they've got cameras as well, so.
Well, I suppose the worst that can happen is that you might find a parking ticket.
Hopefully,
but the worry. I suppose your point is the worry is not finding your car damaged or stolen or broken into.
Yes.
No, that very rarely happens. It does happen, but very, very rare. You know, crime is quite low, thank God.
And there's instances also like where we live, whereby, because we stay close to town, very close to town, and people take walks at around 2 a.m. in the morning. They'll be walking their dogs 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I finish work at 10. I drive by myself,
jogging
and they're still walking around. I mean, I'm not even scared of passing all those woods, you know. There's no second thought of someone just appearing from nowhere and doing anything to me. So it's that sense of, I don't know, security, I can say. Safety and security that is there.
And most streets, like you said already, they'll have cameras.
Yes.
So that gives you that sense of safety and that sense of security.
Yeah.
As much as, yes, anything can happen, but it does feel safer.
Yes.
It does feel safer. Then what else? What else is different?
Oh, the most important one. Just basic necessities, availability of basic necessities, things we can't live without. Your electricity, readily available, your gas is there. Food is really not expensive at all.
That's true.
Yes, the bills might be high, but depending on your usage as well. I mean, you need to be mindful of what you use. But the basic necessities are readily available. You don't have to look for
worry
water.
About load shedding.
Yes. And look for water. I mean, water sometimes goes some areas. I mean, you know, in Africa. So load shedding as well. I mean, we get stage 6. You know, sometimes we used to get stage 6. Like that's 4 hours, I think, gone. Production stops. Your work stops. If you don't have a generator, that's it. You know, and hospitals also suffer and everything else. Here, everything is just functioning. From electricity, as I mentioned, your gas, your
transport.
Your transport system is the best. Your bus system is functioning. Railway lines, nobody bothers to you know, if destroy. It's still functioning properly. The times, try and stick to the times. If you know you're going to get a delay, either you get an SMS on your phone. Like I've had SMSs sometimes if there's a bus delay, if I'm taking the bus on that particular day, which is rare, but you do get notification of a certain delay. If there's a strike upcoming, you know prior, so that you make alternative arrangements if there is any for those that take a train sometimes. So their system works.
That's true.
Which is something we are still behind in Africa.
Yeah, and that's something we're a little behind in Ireland compared to England. The rail system is good, but the buses, oh my God, because the city is not like a proper first world class developed city. Like it is, we are in the first world. However, if you compare, say, to Brussels, to Amsterdam, to London, we're not there yet, but that's mainly because we didn't have as many bus lanes. In the UK there's loads of bus lanes.
Thousands.
Like there's no private car driving on a bus lane because the camera will just snap you, and you'll be paying hundreds of pounds, and no one wants that. So that means the buses are not disrupted, they're not delayed, they are going, they're going on time. Whereas in Dublin city centre, it's only recently they've started isolating lanes for buses. So we're working on that, but we'll get there. And like that, if you're on the rail transporter, you make it on time to wherever you're going to. So that is true. That's true. And back home, if a bus is delayed by half an hour, it's like it's a norm.
I mean, you can try and complain as much as you want,
but it will get nowhere.
Sometimes if it does, the excuse is just not even worth you asking.
Or whatever it is. But there's I don't think as Africans. Now I have seen North Africans, is that what, Nigeria, Ghana, up there, they are very punctual. They actually, have noticed they're very good with time. Like I've had videographers, cameramen, makeup artists. My God, if you say 10 o'clock, they're there 10 to quarter
wow.
to. They really have a proper culture when it comes to timekeeping. But I think Southern Africans... we have a long way to go. If you're 20 minutes late, you're on time.
Yes.
You can't tell me I'm late in beginning at 20 past 10.
Exactly.
So we have a long way to go. And there is a few. There's like I've talked about my husband on this channel. He is one of those that is half an hour earlier to everything. And our eldest daughter, half an hour, she'll be parked outside work 30 minutes before.
Wow.
So there's a few that have discipline when it comes to time. But generally, most of you are like me. Don't sit there and say, why is she blaming us? Because I know it's Maning. So that's an interesting observation as well. Yeah. And what else? Do you have anything else to say before we close? Maybe, do you miss home?
I do. Not really. Not 100% yet. I do miss my family.
Absolutely.
I do miss my son. And obviously Dad. And obviously all close relatives as well, and friends as well, and people that I used to work with and so forth.
And are you an outgoing person? Because one thing that I actually didn't mention is that, as I think I'm assuming, it's probably because of the weather. There's not much of an outgoing culture. I mean, I suppose people go to restaurants and pubs, but there's not a proper vibe that we have at home when it comes to weekends and month ends and
brides,
the brides and the parks and family gatherings and I think you do miss that when
I do
relocate.
Definitely I do, especially now it's festive season. Family functions, getting together, dressing up and playing music and dancing and stuff like that. But I mean, we're here, so we make do with what we have. And so far so good though. No complaints.
And then the last thing, guys, that just came to my mind right now, is how now I don't know how you found it, but this is now to me, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Please, if you're an immigrant in any country, whether in America, Australia, Amsterdam, Germany, wherever you are, do you know when you leave home, like I've mentioned, I am an economical immigrant. you think, oh, I'll go to Ireland, I'll work for 3 years, I'll buy my mansion, I'll buy a Ford Ranger, and I will, go back and maybe I'll open a business, I might build a school within 3 to 5 years, because you think you'll save massive of monies within months. But the shock is that it's not what always happens.
Yeah.
When you get here, you realize when you get your salary, you have rent to pay, you have bills to pay, you have fuel to pay, you have car insurance, you have road tax, you have water bills, you have electricity, and then you're sending money to your family back home, whether it's your parent, whether it's your children, and what's left in your pocket is not as big as you envision.
Yes.
It's not something that you can build a mansion within 2 years.
No.
So it is a shock that, you think, oh, people in Europe. And the other thing is that, guys, we don't look good every day here. I go to work, I don't put any extra effort. However, remember, when I visit home, I'm on a holiday.
Yes.
I wake up to go and sit the seat, to go and visit a family, to go to a park. So I will dress up and I have time. And then you think all these people, that are living overseas, when they come home, they're all glamorous, it's not the real everyday life we live here, And again, the Europeans, or the Irish specifically, I know the French, they like the heels and dressing up and the lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
The Irish guys, you can walk in Dublin city centre for 2 hours and not see anyone on high heels and makeup and dressed up, and it's not their culture. They just wear runners, they walk a lot. You cannot walk with an Irish person. They love walking. So they wear comfortable shoes, flat shoes, runners. They love their jeans, comfort wear. They wear, work clothes.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing extra glamorous, that's an everyday Irish person you'd meet on the street. So that also takes away the effort from me as an African. Even if back home I used to dress up and look glamorous, I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is one cultural difference. Back home, oh my God, if you go to Gobasantin, all those nice glamorous malls, people are dressed up.
People are always on flick.
People are on flick. People are on point. People have makeup every day, 7 days a week. Nails done, hair done, heels on, but it's not like that.
It's not
here.
our everyday life.
No, it's not our everyday life here.
And it's not a lot of salons as well that can actually cater for our hair.
Oh yeah, true.
Especially where I'm based, hair wise for me is a big issue.
Yeah.
So I've had to resort to buying different wigs, because for me it's just a matter of just putting on my head and then I'm out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that is true. And as much as I agree with you guys, I feel uncomfortable wearing my wig at work. So I never wear my wig at work. I've never worn a wig to my job.
Wow.
No, because I have a sense of pride in who I am. Not that if you're wearing a wig, you're not proud of who you are.
Yeah.
I just feel like if I'm wearing a wig, maybe the Caucasian person thinks I'm trying to imitate them. I'm trying to be white. I'm trying to have my hair look like theirs.
Yeah.
So with my sense of pride and I am who I am, and this is my hair, I'm going to carry it.
Yeah.
So of course for my YouTube channels, mostly I do dress, because majority of my YouTube audience are Africans, are black. I know I do have white people, but maybe they have an understanding of our hair, and our hair is very difficult to maintain, guys. So those wearing the wigs, I understand you.
It is.
It's hard to comb our hair every morning.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, it's sometimes hard to get an African hairdresser to do your hair.
Yeah.
And like if you find one, believe me,
expensive.
you will not pay less than £100.
You're paying an arm and a leg, basically.
And if you're still living in the conversion world, you'll be thinking £100, my God, that's 2,000 or 3,000 rands, or whatever currency it is in your country. So you'll be thinking, it's not worth it. This money can buy a half month's groceries.
Yes.
So should I be spending it on one hair? Sit down. Is it
not
worth it?
Yeah.
However, if you do, if you like your wigs, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I wear them myself, but I do like to identify as African and to come across proud of who I am, and that I have no problem with my hair. So I think that's it for today. We shall wrap there and love yous and leave yous, and thank you so much for coming through. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to the conversation. Please do comment down below and say what you think if you have traveled outside your country, even if it's within Africa, because cultures are so different. I remember I watched one YouTuber that said they traveled to Kenya, South African YouTuber, and they said one thing that they have missed is uputu with what do you call that milk? The sour milk. Amas. So the one main thing she has missed is uputu namas. And she's only in Kenya. So, there's a lot. So if anyone has been outside the country and missed anything at all, please do write down below. Let's have a conversation. Let's interact. And please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Now take care of yourselves and of each other. Ciao.
Bye. Thank you.